Okay, so I had video of when I started doing the project with stiffening up the perimeter of this deck, but I was having microphone issues, so there was no audio. So what you're going to see here in this video is part two of modifying and strengthening the deck on the mower here. And what you missed was basically me starting and explaining what I was going to do. And also you missed me putting in the supports. I do apologize for that. I had the microphone on, but it wasn't plugged in, or it wasn't turned on, or something, and something happened. So we're going to continue in, and where you're going to pick up right after this is where I welded in the first piece and continued to weld. The only real important thing that you missed was adding the support rings to the spindles. It's really not that big of a deal. But I will touch on it probably in later this video just to kind of give you a shot of it, and we'll go from there. I do appreciate you guys following this. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. All right, so here we are. I'm not zooming in so you can see my welds. I'm not a welder, fabricator, or anything like that. I literally have a Harbor Freight flux core. One nice thing about the flux core is it don't care about paint. As long as you can get started on that metal, it'll burn that paint. But spot weld, spot weld, spot weld, spot weld, spot weld. I did have to cut it. It is going underneath both of the arms there for the anti-scalp wheels. And we're just going to continue working our way around. Just grinder and paint. Make you the welder you ain't. So I'm just going to keep rolling with that, and I will wire wheel this, and it will get a healthy coat of paint and primer. I didn't run into really any issues to really address besides, you know, the 15 times it took me to get that curvature just right and where to cut it off at. But if I can do it, you can do it. $100 welder. It is giving me some issues right now where I'm in the middle of welding and it's not feeding correctly. So I've been messing around with the tensioner and stuff down there, trying to get it to just keep continuously feeding that wire up through there. But sounds like a bunch of excuses to me, so I'm not going to make any more. I'm just going to continue to work, and as long as I can get some weld that'll stick, I'm not too worried about the cosmetics or how beautiful it looks. If that was the case, I would obviously have a really good welder. I don't. That works perfectly fine looks good enough for the girls we date. So, like I said, I'm going to continue where I left off right here and working my way around. He's starting off right there and making my way back around to the back. And unfortunately, because of those, it will not be in one piece. But hey, it is what it is. This is still going to add a ton of strength to this. All right, so here we are. Make this where I can turn it. Yeah, so shoved it underneath there, made it touch the other one. And I just use this to bend it to get the shape. Once I got the shape, use vice grips to lock it down. Also, it's going to be probably the best ground that you'll be able to get working on something like this. And we have made it to right here. And now I just need to fill in the rest with the other dowel rod that I have. So far, it's going pretty good. You know, the welds, you know, they're not the best because I am not a welder. They say practice makes perfect. It don't for me. I've welded a lot, and I still just can't get it. Anyway, it will stick. I've never had a weld break. I just never had a weld look good. So now we're going to just continue where we left off and work our way over to the other caster wheel over there. And like I said, I'll bring you in once we're done, and have to wire wheel and clean all this, and we'll get some paint on it so it don't spot rust. Okay, so here we are. Connected the two rods, made them one. Again, just using clamps, clamp it, bend it. And the hardest part of the whole thing was getting this shape into here. I kept having to clamp it down and then grab the other clamp, go over, position it, and try to get it to roll itself down in there. And then once I got it down in there, it was a matter of just clamping it, putting a couple real quick welds in it just to hold it. And like I said, I'm not a good welder. Never claimed to be. Probably will never be, because my give a damn just isn't there. As we go around, you can see so not pretty, but it will hide with paint. I grinded down enough of it. Obviously, you don't want to grind a whole lot of it off, because that is your strength. Now I just going to take a wire wheel. Once I get it wire wheeled, get all that little burn stuff off, and it's a matter of rolling it out the door and throwing some quick paint on it real quick, just so it don't flash rust. That's really my main concern. We don't want it to flash rust, because that is raw steel. So let me get that done, and I'll bring you back when we're getting ready to throw some paint on. Okay, so got it cleaned off. The best that I'm going to do, because this mower deck will be probably getting painted every year. So clean it off with some soapy water, wire wheeled, good enough for me. The paint that I'm going to be using for the part that you can see, the upper part of the deck, is just gloss black and this tractor enamel. It's supposed to be pretty good stuff. I do know that the stuff that you mix with the hardener stuff is actually really good paint. I've known several people that's painted motorcycles and odds and ends stuff. So we're going to give this a try. It wasn't super cheap, but cheap enough. Get you focused. And that's just it. We're just going to work our way around. And that's it. You get the idea of it. That paint smells weird. It almost smells like some kind of soap, like baby soap or something. So let me get this painted up here, and then I think the next step will probably be painting the whole deck itself. I'm going to be removing some of the stupid warning stickers and stuff like that. And then I need to get that striper kit ordered so we can get that installed, because it's going to be a lot easier to install it now versus once it's on the zero turn. So let me go ahead and just get this knocked out. That way there's one coat on the raw metal, and then when I do the whole deck, there'll actually be two coats on the raw metal. And I'll probably lay it in pretty good to get that paint to go down underneath that rod. So let me get that done, and we'll bring you back. Okay, so while we let the paint dry, I almost forgot that I wanted to modify the spindle covers. So to start out, we're going to put our corner holes, and that's just so when we run our saw up through here, we'll actually have a nice rounded edge. It'll make it a little easier for cleanup. So I'm going to go ahead and get the jigsaw out and go ahead and start cutting at least one of them up. And then I'll bring you in and just show you the end results. And we'll go from there. And if you didn't watch the first one, the reason for opening these gaps up is so that I can take my blower and actually get underneath there and blow the spindles out to get any of the grass out from underneath the spindles on the deck. One, keeping it from rot, and two, it'll help keep your spindles cooler, which will improve the longevity of your spindle life. Okay, so here we are. I got one of them roughly cut out. All I need to do is just take a file and kind of clean up those burrs. You can also take a heat gun when you're done. It'll kind of help smooth up the edges and turn it back black. But as you can see from one to the other, the difference that's going to be with being able to keep these spindles blown out after each yard, or especially during leaf season and stuff like that. That's going to help prolong the life of your spindles just by being able to just blow it out, because if you get piled up with leaves and grass and stuff, you can't get any air in there, and those spindles will get hot and that grease will fail. It's not really a matter of if, it's when. And we want to prevent that from happening. Also, too, your deck uses this area and between the spindles to draw air in to help create lift, which gets you a better cut. So if your deck spindles are completely covered in grass, just know you're not getting that air pool underneath your deck to be able to stand those blades of grass up and to get a good clean cut. And it also helps lay the grass down to create stripes. So you won't see any more of these until we install them. It's pretty simple. You drill your holes, you cut it with something. I'm just using a jigsaw because that's what I have. And then, like I said, we'll file them down, smooth them up. If anything, if they don't look too good, we can throw a coat of paint on them, but I think they'll be fine just the way that they are. Okay, so here we are. Everything's clean as best as I'm going to get it. The only sticker that I left, I took off the 42, and please don't stick your fingers underneath there. Warning stickers. I did keep the diagram, which I did cut out the other little warnings. Don't stick your fingers underneath the deck while it's running. So I need to get that taped off. But other than that, I mean, you can see I just took some Awesome and a Scotch-Brite and just scuffed it enough, and then took air and completely dried it, used heat. And yeah, I just need to tape that up, and we'll get started with some dust coats. You want to make sure that you don't want to lay it on thick. You want to do multiple dust coats. So let me get that taped up, and we'll start putting some paint down. All right, and here we go. I'm not going to worry about the table. It's a work table, so I was worried about it at first, and I got thinking, that's silly. I throw push mowers up here and everything. So again, we're going to hold back about 8 inches or so, and we're just going to start laying in some coats. I will paint all that in there too. Multiple dust coats here. And I didn't really want gloss. I was looking for a semi-gloss, but I couldn't find it in this tractor paint, which is what I wanted to go with. So kind of hoping that the shininess will take longer to dull out, if that makes any sense. So one can hope. And I'm going to be painting all this, the pulleys, the top of the pulleys, everything's going to get painted eventually here once I get these dust coats on. And like I said, I'm not too critical. If this was a mower that I was going to be selling, I might do a little bit better job, but this is one that I'm actually, it's part of my fleet as far as work goes, and with no means at all that you don't have to do any of this. I run this mower 80% of the time because most of my yards are small residential yards, and the 42 really comes in handy with being able to fit. And even on some of the yards that are a little bit bigger, in my opinion, you know, if you have a small yard, it kind of looks ridiculous with a 60-inch stripe. So the 42 does come in handy a lot. So I do use this mower a lot, which is why we are doing the upgrades that we are. If I didn't use this mower as much and it was like a secondary or a third mower or something like that, honestly, I probably wouldn't do none of this. I'd probably just buy it and just run it. But I do want to try to save on this deck as much as possible. Just because I want to try to make as much money as I can with it. I know personally a person that they can break anything, and they just, I don't know, man. They're not even made of money neither. They're just one of them people that just runs things until they don't run no more. And for me, I don't know. I grew up differently. We didn't get the chance to just run out and just go get new stuff. We had to figure out how to fix it until it couldn't be fixed anymore, which I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. It just kind of shows a generational gap there. I was born in the 80s, so like I said, we had money, but if you could fix it, you fixed it. Just how it was back then. So all right, so that's good for that coat. Let it set for 10-15 minutes or so just to get it tacky, and then I'll lay down a good coat, and then I'll bring you back just to show what it looks like. And then the next time we'll be rolling in will probably be to install that striper kit, and there'll be a separate video on the striper kit in detail. But in this video, you're just going to see it. Hey, here it is. Boom, there it's on. And then we'll go from there. And I think that should be it for the video. But we'll see, because this whole thing has just been winging it and upgrading as we go. So there hasn't really been like a punchline for the video. I'm just kind of going as just upgrading things as I go. So yeah, let's let this dry, and I'll throw a good coat on there and bring it back, and we'll see what it looks like after that. All right, so there we have it. I laid down a nice wet coat. I just got done with it. Main area is really worried about laying it in really nice is obviously on the sides, where it's going to be visible from the side of the mower. But here's what it all looks like now. Like I said, mainly worrying about that area. And I did go down through and really lay in the paint around the rod, and then worried about this area. Right now it's showing a little bit of orange peel. It is cold. Painting the pulleys, obviously you don't paint on the sides of them. Hopefully that little bit of orange peel, and you can kind of see it, hopefully it'll go away once it dries. If it don't, oh well, it's what it is, and it is what it was always going to be. So now we just let that dry, and I need to go in and get that striper kit on order, and here in like 5 seconds you'll be watching install the striper kit. All right, so I'm just going to show you the brackets here that you missed because of the audio felling. This is the next day, and the paint actually came out pretty good. I mean, there's some orange peel, but I mean, for a rattle can job, pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with it. So we'll see how longevity of this holds up. And so here's the brackets, the support brackets here. I am going to remove these. As I was thinking about it, I thought, man, it'd be nice if I just put some grease underneath that bracket, because I do live in Ohio and we get pretty bad rain. So there will be chances that I will be raining or mowing in the rain. So I am going to remove these here and put some paint or some grease underneath that. Just because it's going to be a long time before I ever have to take these back off again. So I just want to make sure that it don't rot, because like I said, one of the main issues with these mower decks is it will rot and get weak in between the bolt hole and that lip there. So anything I can do to prevent it, and yeah, I know it's not going to be like a permanent fix, and there's going to be people say, well, it can contract dirt, it can contract dust. It's going to do that regardless. At least if there's grease in there, maybe it'll help prevent it from getting up and underneath of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and just start. 13s. That's good. Looks like our anti-seize is definitely distributed through there. That was the thing that you missed due to the audio, is I laid on the anti-seize. Okay. Just like I'm about to do again. That's one of the things, depending on the area that you live in. Here in Ohio, even just working on especially cars, you don't put any hardware back in here without adding anti-seize, unless it's there's a certain reason, torque spec or something like that. We add anti-seize to everything. If you ever plan on taking it back off in Ohio, you better have it. And I'm just going to run this down, and then we will torque them by hand. Oh, you guys watched me do that. Didn't even say anything. Going to run them down with the gun, and then I will tighten them by hand, just because it is metal and aluminum. Not saying that this Harbor Freight impact will break anything, but you just never know. All right, I just need to repeat that to the other side, and we'll be ready to move on. All right, so we're now going to add our blades back on. So we're at a point in time where they don't really need to be off. Again, anti-seize. Okay. Checking the level there. Everything's good. All right, we just need to get the big impact out. I do recommend with these here, put your big impact on. I'll probably put it on like number 2 versus number 3 and torque it down. You can't hardly hold on to these. I mean, you can if you want. I just prefer doing these bigger. I feel better with the bigger hardware with actually using the impact. So let me just get those down, and then we'll be back with something. All right, so we're back. Told you we'd be back with something. There's always something to do here. That. Get the light to focus here. Work with me. Work with me. There we go. That is not even the stinking freaking diagram. So this thing don't even have a diagram on it. What's going on, MTD? Usually you guys are, I mean, some of the stuff they do is kind of silly, but like that is just, that's ridiculous. So I saved that sticker and it's pointless, which I'm not going to take it off now. I'm not going to peel it, but I will. I mean, it's pointless. I thought it was a freaking diagram. Now it might be one for a bigger deck or something like that, but for what I have, that's not working. So, all right, so we're going to go back on. You're looking at 6 3/8 bolts. Just like everything, we're going to be anti-seizing the threads. Tight enough. They're just covers. Good enough. New threads. Cool. All right. It's got to be Pete the repeat on the other side, and we're one step closer to getting this thing back installed. Still waiting on the striper kit to get here, so we will be doing that. Don't worry, we will be getting around to that. Right now, I'm just trying to get this mocked up because I want to test my throttle return springs for the hold open here. So I want to be able to test that. And I should be able to test it off the mower or off the zero turn itself. So let me get that going, and I should be rolling you in when the striper kit shows up, and then I think that will wrap it up. But let me go ahead and get that tested, and I'll bring you in with the striper kit. All right, we're back. We got the striper kit. The part number that you need is right here. The one I used was right here in the middle for the stamped deck. You want to make sure you're getting the right one. I found this one on Troy-Bilt's website under accessories for my model number. But if you have the same mower that I have, this is going to be what you need. And this right here is the most important bracket. This is what makes this different than the other ones. The fabricated deck, it's not the same. Absolutely not the same. These are $122, so they are not cheap. But if you take that part number and go over to Amazon and eBay you can search from there. Example, again, $122. I got an OEM one. It was missing this roller. You can find the part number for that roller. I went on Amazon. I gave $5 for it. I gave $37 for this whole kit plus $5. So a lot cheaper than just ordering it straight from the manufacturer. And I still got an OEM product except for that wheel. That wheel is not an OEM. That's a Chinesium. But it should be fine for what we're doing. So let's get this installed. And we should be essentially done with the video once we get her installed. All right, striper kit is installed. The next thing to do is to get everything mounted up and installed onto the mower itself and just check the fit and everything, make sure that we're good on everything. And we should be good from there. There will be a video on the installation of the striper kit. And I'll also make a video on how to properly level your deck, which is extremely important. So let's get this thing mounted up and we'll go from there. All right, here we go. Give you a look at what the striper kit looks like installed. It uses the existing brackets on the back. Again, using the existing brackets and provided hardware. There, I do have a video on how to install it. It's a really short video, like 10 minutes long. Not the most cheapest upgrade you'll do, but I will have to say it's probably one of the easiest. If you have a set of wrenches or a ratchet and sockets, your basic tools, you should be able to do this no problem. So now we have to put that on there and we'll wrap this video up and go over everything we've done in both these videos. All right, got her all installed. There's plenty of videos out there to do it. You got a pin there, pin on the other side, and pin up front. Pretty simple. So everything's installed, including the chute blocker. And it looks like the GM throttle return springs are going to work. Up, down, she holds, it stays. Push in, down, and it's going to be up for the most part. It's only going to be down, you know, very few. I did fix the routing of the belt, as some of you guys might have been screaming at the camera. The routing was wrong. I got that situated. Everything's installed. So recap, if I can remember everything, we put support rings around the spindles. We drilled and tapped the spindles to take a zerk, remove the seals from the bearings so that the grease would get to them. We enlarged the opening there for the spindle covers so that we could blow those out and keep that nice and clean, also to improve airflow. We also put support all the way around this deck, front, back, all the way around, with basically rebar, and essentially it's just dowel rod. What else did we do? Striper kit we installed. Greased all the pulleys, did bed liner undercoating and rust prevention. Under the deck, we repainted the top of the deck with tractor paint, some durable enamel paint. Separate video, you know, we did install that. You can check that out. It's on my channel. It should be in my playlist here. And I think that pretty well sums it up. If I missed anything, I apologize. It's all in the videos. This is just an outro anyway. I'm getting ready to level the deck, so there's going to be a video on how to properly level your deck on your mower, because there is a method to it. This one I do a little bit differently than what you might do, so might be worth checking out. So that video will be coming up And like always, I appreciate you guys watching. If you would, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I'm trying to grow here, trying to get the views and the subscriptions and stuff. It's free to you. It don't cost you anything. Just hit that subscribe button. And like always, I'll see you on the next one.